Hello, guys. Welcome to the podcast, Notes from My Journal, a space where I share life experiences, good food, and travels, and anything in between. Something can always pop up and we'll learn from it, right? So, these are the things we'll be discussing together, and I want you to come along. Hi, so we're back again, the second episode of this lovely podcast, Notes from My Journal. And I remember I mentioned in the last episode that we'll be talking about autumn. You see, autumn is a special time for me because it reminds me of my struggle days. So, moving here was a big culture shock, environmental change, and yada yada yada. And what occurs is when it gets to September, we all know that the atmosphere, the weather changes. But for me, I subconsciously made a mental note of the smell that comes, it's not like a smell, like the air we breathe in during that period is it's dry, it's and cold, and I really can't explain it. It just brings back memories. That's what I was trying to explain all this while. Can you imagine? It brings back memories. So some good, some not so good. And however, this year I was able to experience the autumn from a different light, and I think it's because of the lockdown and related to us wearing masks. So instead of me, my sensories being aware that the weather has changed, I was more visual. Like I could, observe the beauty of the colors of the leaves, the rustling of the leaves on the feet, that feel on my feet. Don't get me wrong, I noticed these things over the years. However, I paid more attention to it this year, and that's why I made like a journal about it, of when I went cycling, and I shared my experience. So I would love you to listen to what I wrote about it, and I hope you do enjoy it. Today, I felt like cycling after a training, and I did. This week, I'm on the midnight shift, so my sleep pattern is sketchy. But for some reason, I felt like riding my bike to go for an errand on behalf of my friend for a place that is just like a 5-minute walk. But for some reason, like I said, I felt like cycling. There's still some mild sun coming out this end of October, and I plan to soak it all in before it completely vanishes out till next year. I dropped off the item and headed out. Took the back side of the building because I didn't want to ride on the highway. On my way, I thought it'd be nice to buy salad to complement my jollof I made up yesterday. If you're Nigerian, you know what jollof rice means. I rode and got to the crossroad that led down to a hill, but I didn't want to carry my bike down the hilly part, so I rode left. I rode left to the mini park that had small tarred roads that comes to a close where kids play basketball sometimes and skating. There were rusty leaves all over the floor. It made me excited to ride on them, all for the rusty sounds they make. These are the leaves I look forward to stepping on with my shoes when I'm walking outside or heading back home. I try to make sure no one is looking at me because I don't want someone to think I'm weird. But it's just a guilty pleasure that I always look forward to. They gave me some sort of adrenaline satisfaction that I really can't explain. But riding my bike and hearing all those ruffles was so satisfying. Now, to the fun part. As I was cycling, I spotted a tree, the fairest of them all. It had two colors dividing it into two halves. The upper part was bright color orangish red, while the middle downward was bright yellow. This tree caught my eye and made me view the autumn in a different light. There's a beauty about this season I had not really appreciated for years until now. And this is because during autumn, there's this scent that is always in the air, and it reminds me of the struggles of environmental change I experienced during my first years moving here. But now, due to the pandemic, we now wear masks. And for the first time, instead of being aware of the scent that's triggering, my nose has been covered when going out, and my sensory focus redirected to seeing the beauty of the autumn, the view from my window and in the parks when cycling and taking a walk. That's it, guys. My short but beautiful experience about autumn. I know that you have different experiences as well, like I do, but I've come to realize that every season is beautiful in its own self. Be it summers that I still love, or spring that I started loving after summers, and then autumn. And as we speak, there is snow field everywhere out of my window, and it's beautiful to have it all white. This I love as well. The only part that I'm like meh is when it starts melting, and you're like, oh, my shoes. But there's always something beautiful to see, to experience, and that goes to talk about life as well. In circumstances, in situations, we can try. I know it's hard, but we can try to find something to smile about, some experience to learn from, some lesson. No, there's no situation that doesn't have, its own lesson, both good and not so good. And I see it as of learning forward. When you try something new and maybe you don't succeed in it, I call it, failing forward, not a failure. It's like a failing forward. So next time you do it, you're doing it based on experience, right? So this piece is making us see a bigger picture of how occurrences happen in life, because there will always be something that will happen. The things that brings joy, the things that do not bring joy, and in all, we should all be grateful and pay attention to the little things. Until next time, I hope you enjoyed this. Follow us on Instagram, where I share snippets of notes from my journal. And next episode, we'll be talking about something really interesting, and I hope you'll be here again to listen to it.